For those who don't know who I am, my name is Ling Chow. I'm born in Taiwan, raised in the United States. I'm at MIT. I am the Regional 16 for C.A.R. We are Regional 16 belong to two associations. One is Western Gabriel, which you belong to, and the other one is Citrus Association. We go to meeting 3 times a year. This is our last time. Who went to October Expo? You guys had a great time. I heard everybody won something there, right? I heard a lot of laptop and money was given to you guys. While you guys were there enjoying Expo, the C.A.R. directors of our association and Citrus Association and every association that is a C.A.R. director is in a meeting. We go to meeting 3 times a day, once in January and one in May in Sacramento and one in October, which is an expo every year. When we go there, each one of us is responsible for some committees. And they are responsible to report every Thursday and Friday night in caucus. And we have board director meeting on Friday afternoon and Saturday morning starting at 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock in the morning this Saturday, last C.A.R., the last C.A.R. director meeting started at 8 o'clock and it didn't end until approximately 12:25 or 12:20. And it was a very, very long meeting for the last meeting of the year. However, we're going to report to you, every one of them is going to report to you on their committee that they have attended on the issues. We're going to do a short and sweet version of of what happened in C.A.R. I hope everybody know that we are no longer BRE, correct?
Yes, we are.
Whereas capital C-A-L-B-R-E now. Calgary, they call us. Calgary. BRE was sued by their logo because somebody has BRE in Los Angeles, so it's called Calgary now. So know who you are, okay? You go out. Don't say you're DRE and don't say you're BRE because you're Calgary. Okay. I would like to start introducing to you our first speaker is Mr. Tom. Tom Senior. I'm so happy that Tom sold me a scholarship ticket for $20. Doing the board director, I won a trip to Hawaii or a cruise for 2.
Wow.
You all should have bought one.
And I only bought one. You know, sometimes you don't say one lotto ticket with one, right? Just one. So let's welcome, let me tell you what he is responsible when he goes there. He is responsible, he's a C.A.R. director, he is C.A.R. director for life. He is responsible for pre-PAC trustee and C.A.R. Scholarship Foundation. Of course, he is a professional standard regional rep. What it means that he is responsible to report that particular committee to us every caucus meeting. So please welcome Tom Senior.
And I have something in common with Mr. Tran. He forgot his hat today, and I forgot to wear my jacket. What happened is I had it on the chair as I was walking out the door, and I walked out and forgot to put it on. Anyway, sorry if you or anyone's offended. It's the way it goes. First, before I start, I wanted to give you just a little bit because no one else may give this, and it's one of the primary speakers at this expo meeting we had was Leslie Appleton Young. I don't know if you all know her. She's the chief economist for C.A.R. And I just marked down a couple of the salient points that she covered. What she does is gives every year the economic forecast for the next year, 2014. And so her theme of her talk was, there's a lot of uncertainty in state government. We didn't know that. But August of 2013, 86% of the sales in California were traditional, 11% were short sales, and 3% were REOs. And that REO and short sale was quite a bit down from the month before and the months before that. So we're getting back into a normal market. The current market is balanced between supply and demand. And that's pretty good, because it has not been that way in the past, so right now we're balanced. Her 2014 forecast was for a GDP to be up, that's the gross domestic product, up by 2.8%, and she expects employment in 2014 to level off at about 7%. Population growth is expected to be about 1% next year. This is in California. She estimates California real estate sales next year to be up by 3.2%. So good. Figure that with what you did last year, and you can figure you should be doing 3.2% more this year. The median price will increase in 2014 by 28%, is her opinion. That's quite a bit, up to a median of $432.8 in California. And she predicts a fixed rates to be about 5.3 and ARMs to be about 3.1. So that's up from where we're at right now, I believe. Haven't had that loan in a couple of months, so I don't know. 91% of California home buyers use a realtor, so that's good to know. And the strategic planning and long-range planning, strategic planning committee of C.A.R. she chairs, and they always give them 2 books to read. And so I thought I'd like to share that with you, so in case you want to run out and buy books that your strategic planning for C.A.R. reading this year, they are named The Checklist Manifesto by Gawande, G-A-W-A-N-D-E, and Being Wrong by Schultz. So those are a couple that you might suggest. I remember, I think last year, one of her books was Lean In, the very famous book, which went to #1. So, and that, yeah, she recommended it before that. Also, Lynn told you that we start at 8 o'clock. Oh no! Get your money out. Yeah. Ling told us that everyone gets up and gets to a meeting at 8 o'clock and everybody looked real sad and felt sorry for us. Well, I hate to tell you, but there's one meeting, only one in the entire program, that starts at 6:30, and I go to that meeting. And it's called the California Real Estate Expert Witness Committee. And I'm not assigned to that, it's one I volunteer, and I'm a charter member. I've been a member for 20 years now. We're getting into our 20th year. And these are realtors who appear in court to testify in various standards of practice. I do primarily in written appraisal, but have appeared under standards of practice. That's when you have a problem and you have to go to court, and they want they call a realtor in to give testimony to show that you did the right thing or you didn't do the right thing, depending on who hires you. Most of the time, most members are defending realtors. Anyway, our speaker this time was Tom Carnahan, who is a very prominent realtor in the San Fernando Valley. Tom ran for president a couple years ago and lost to, believe it or not, the president who just died, Francis Arnold. But he stayed as a very loyal, active member since he lost the election. But he was our speaker, and he spoke. I made a note of some of the salient points he made. Tom gave the primary reasons for lawsuits against realtors, his opinion, and he's testified for over 25 years. He said in over 110 cases in court, so he knows what he's talking about. Number 1, he considered his lack of full disclosure. Number 2, and he said this is very important, lack of experience. And that sounds simple, but what he meant was where a residential broker takes on commercial, industrial, short sales, vacant lots, acreage, property management, without having experience in that. In other words, we all are licensed to do everything, and we think we know everything. But when you get called before the judge in court, you may find out that you don't know everything. His third thing was giving legal advice. That's a no-no. And the fourth in the list of most lawsuits against realtors is dual agency. Whenever you are walking to court and you are a dual agent, you will almost always lose. So keep that in mind. Dual agency is very, very, very dangerous unless, you just really need to talk to a lawyer before you engage in dual agency. And most realtors do it. He gave, and just the rest of it, he gave three, I guess, sayings that he says. He says, some realtors look at the money, not the job. Realtors' standard of practice vary with the circumstances. And his bottom line, it was, if you see it, disclose it. So that was that. Then I'm on the standard, the Scholarship Foundation. And this year we awarded, I don't know if you know, the Scholarship Foundation only gets money from interest on their what they call the corpus, the principal money that they have in the bank. They get over $1 million in the bank. This comes from grants and things, but they can't give that money out for scholarships. That's only held as their corpus, and they then use the interest from that. Well, how many of you know what the interest has been in the last couple of years? It's been pretty low. Unfortunately, we were only able to give 6 scholarships at this meeting, but we did. And I was able to interview the young student from Cal Poly Pomona, who was working as a part-time realtor while pursuing his real estate career in real estate and finance. So that was a very, very qualified kid. Then we have also the Education Foundation. This is the one where we award scholarships to, or grants to realtors who have taken courses like, any of the designated courses that you take, CRS, GRI, SRES, any of those. If you take the course, get the designation, apply to C.A.R, and you can get all or some or all of your money back. So be sure you do that. And there's money there available. We gave about $10,000 out at this meeting to realtors. We sold, Ling took away my thunder, but I was fortunate enough to sell her the ticket. We sold over $20,000 worth of tickets. We generated that much money for the Scholarship Foundation. And Ling was lucky enough to win the cruise, so she gets a cruise to anywhere she wants to go. 3 choices: Hawaii, Alaska, or the Caribbean.
I can
Choose
be a
yet?
person too.
Huh?
It's for two.
For 2, yeah.
For 2.
Which one are you going to? Not decided yet. But I mean, it's, that's a lot of tickets that we sold. That was really good luck. We've had very good luck at the expos. We've had Carl Feldstein win some big prize, and just about everybody that goes.
We got a computer.
Yeah. So anyway. Okay, let's see. Now, Citrus, I just want to mention too, Citrus initiated a $10,000 scholarship in honor of Dale Colby. I know a lot of you probably know Dale, is an old timer in real estate here. So. My other committee was professional standards. Major topic there was Jim Hamilton's task force on ethics. Jim came to our board and gave a talk. You probably may recall that. He found that the primary problem with ethics for realtors, the problem that people are having is that the fines are too low. We are slapping people with a $500 fine. $500 fine to a $300,000 a year agent doesn't mean anything. That's what they determined. And so, starting January 1st, the local board will be able to fine you up to $15,000 for an ethical violation. This was approved by the National Association of Realtors, and we will be able to publish after the second time. If you do it twice, we can then publish it. So keep that in mind. Any of you that want to walk outside the code of ethics, you may be having some problems. And I chaired yesterday, I'm chairman of professional standards here, and I chaired a hearing, and we did have one of the ethical, one of the code of ethics was at stake in the matter, and we resolved it. So we do follow up on these. C.A.R. is working on something. We haven't adopted it yet, but probably in the near future we will. It's called a citation program, and that's where instead of going to a full hearing, a lot of you say, I don't want to file a claim against this guy because he's unethical, but it's just too much work, all this paperwork, and and I've got to go and appear and all this. Well, It's a new program. It's going to be like a traffic ticket. And give a citation to somebody, and then if this is for minor things, and they handle it, maybe pay a little fine or do a little education. So do any of you think this would be a good idea for us to adopt that here?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, hear that, Albert? Got it? So I'm trying to promote it here. Okay, and another one is the Ombudsman program at C.A.R., where we have 36 ombudsmen in California. This is volunteer realtors who accept telephone calls from the public or from other realtors who need some advice on some problem that they're having. It's really a great program, and if any of you have a problem, say you really are having a problem with another broker, or maybe even your own broker or something, call the ombudsman and ask for some advice. We're not lawyers. I'm one of them. Lorraine Clark is one of them, and we're not allowed to accept calls in Southern California. I have to take calls from Northern California or San Diego, and then people from up there talk to down here. So you're not talking to one of your competitors. This is just another realtor who knows a little bit about the business. Second thing I want to tell you is that anybody who would like to volunteer for this, we'd appreciate you doing it. You don't have to have a lot of experience. One right there. Just call me and I'll tell you how to do it.
No, I just get a call from the Beverly Hills Board of Realtors. I handle one from there this week.
Oh, good. So you're on the, well, good. I'm glad to know that. I didn't know that. Because I didn't see you come to the meeting we had down at Expo.
Nobody invited me like
What was
last
on the
year.
program?
Last year they invited me.
Program, ombudsman meeting. Okay, last two quick things, because she's trying to pull the hook here on me. The following realtors from our board were granted honorary realtor for life: Marion Cavateo, Oliver Che, and Carl Feldstein. Congratulations. And I will be a pre-pack alderman in 2014. I don't report on pre-pack because it's a confidential meeting, so I'm sorry. Thank you very much.
Our next speaker will be Yin Bird, and she is the C.A.R. Director, Education Service Advisory Vice Chair, Global Real Estate Forum member, and Taxation and Government Finance Regional Chair. She will be the Chair for Education for 2014, and she'll be replacing me as Assistant Regional Chair for Region 16 of 2014 and 2015. She'll be the Chair. Welcome.
Thank you. And this morning I'm going to report on two committees that I attended the meetings on. The first one is Taxation and Government Finance. There was a lot of discussions on this during this meeting. One of them was about the split role. Generally speaking, under Proposition 13, county assessors determine a property's value upon a change of ownership, and a property tax limited to 1% of that value is imposed. I'm sure you all know that, right? Well, under the split roll, however, not all properties on the assessment roll are treated equally. Typically, a split roll would require owners of commercial properties to pay property taxes at a rate higher than that imposed on homeowners, or have their property reassessed more frequently. So there was a lot of discussions on this subject, and then at the end, the committee decided to make a recommendation to the president, to the C.A.R. president, that he appoints a task force to analyze C.A.R.'s position and policy on the split roll tax policy and related issues. So realtors, it's very important that you participate in the rate alerts. This is where you get information or email from C.A.R. for you to, just by a click of a button, to tell your legislators how we stand on a position. So when you get this from NAR or C.A.R., please participate. It's important for us as realtors to preserve the private property owner rights. Okay? So that's all I can report on taxation and government finance. And the other committee that I attended, where I am the vice chair this year, is the Education Advisory Board. And earlier this year, I reported that C.A.R. has a member benefit where they are offering 12 free online continuing education courses as part of your member benefits. I hope you remember that. These 12-hour online CE courses are approved by the California Bureau of Real Estate, the CalBRE, and that this is to use toward renewing your real estate license. And this year, C.A.R. has offered 12 free units. And for those of you who have not utilized this member benefit, you have until December 31st to sign up for these 12 units. And you have 1 year from then to complete these classes. And the reason I'm telling you this is because next year, C.A.R. is also offering another 12 free online CE credit. So, and this is not, this year's 12 units cannot be carried over next year. I mean, next year you cannot sign up for 24 units. So if you haven't done so, I recommend that you sign up for 12 units this year, where you have 1 year to complete, and next year, starting January 1st, you can sign up for another 12 units. So then you'll have 24 units. Okay, so if you haven't done so this year, please sign up for these 12 free online credits. And that's about it. So I just wanted to let you know, please take advantage of the member benefits.
Thank you, Ann. Our next speaker will be Kevin Huang. Kevin is the C.A.R. Director, Forum on Forum Membership, Policy Procedure Forum. He's a regional rep on that one. He makes report on that one. Land use environment. You know, land use environment, you think there's nothing going on there, but there's a lot of things going on regarding land issue. So let's welcome Kevin.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Kevin.
Hopefully everybody's doing well. The first one I'll report to you guys on will be on land use and environmental committee. For those that don't know, it's basically a policy committee, and its mission is to develop C.A.R's land use and environmental policy. Its original jurisdiction is to evaluate legislation and regulation in the following issue areas as they relate to real estate: environmental, land use and zoning and property rights, resources, and subdivision and development. We didn't have any action items at this meeting, so most of it are all just reports, and I'll give you some of the reports that we discussed at the meeting. First one was the wetland issues, and the State Water Resource Control Board to developing new and aggressive wetland regulatory and permitting program that could have significant negative impacts on public and private projects and activities throughout California. Another bill that they are working on is SB 17, and it's the state responsibility areas for private fire prevention fees. This bill is an attempt to repeal the infamous fire fees that were levied by the state last year. There's another one, AB 52, for Native Americans, and this bill will create additional reporting and consulting requirements for developers working with potential sacred Indian sites. California Coastal Commission draft strategic plan. The commission is currently outlining priorities for 2013 to 2018, including mixed-use, high-density, transportation-oriented, green, smart growth policies for the coastal zone. We have also SB 37, which is an energy efficiency and renewable energy upgrade on bill repayment program. This bill would enact an on-bill repayment program that will provide Californians greater access to energy efficiency and clean technology upgrades. One other one is AB 22, which is sidewalk repairs. This is going to be a reintroduction of a bill of a failed bill in 2012 that would force local governments to repeal their statutory obligation to repair sidewalks. without first going to voters for approval. And then one other important one is on the federal level. This is in terms for eminent domain. There are certain cities and counties out there that are exploring the idea of local governments using eminent domain authority to seize performing mortgage notes of upside down or underwater homeowners and then refinance them at the home's current value and sell the new notes to a new investor. So you guys may have heard about that. It was going on in San Bernardino, or San Bernardino County was thinking about doing that. So those are some of the items that came through the land use. The other one that I wanted to report on was public policy, and it was basically a forum on the future of mortgage finance, what's going on with Fannie and Freddie. I'm sure all you guys want to know what's going on with Fannie and Freddie. We actually had a congressman that was able to speak with us that day. His name was Congressman Gary Miller. And he kind of talked about, why we need Freddie and Fannie. He realized that we have made mistakes over the past. They overextended during the boom during that time. Could have rolled back and not have been as aggressive with lending. But mortgage-backed securities is a very important part of our economy. There's $1 trillion that are being invested from foreigners with mortgage-backed securities. There's a total of 3.5 trillion of money that flows into mortgage-backed securities. And the only reason they do that is because the government backs these notes. So if we were to take this out, there'd be a lot of money that would not flow into the United States in terms of investments. So we also were able to talk with another gentleman. His name was Paul Leonard from the Center of Responsible Lending. And he talked about the goals of reform for Freddie and Fannie as well too. He feels affordable home ownership is a good thing, and it needs to be as broadly as possible. We need stability through business cycles and geographic area, and most importantly, we need to keep consumer protection in mind when lending. What we need to fix is what broke, and a lot of it had to do with structural incentives from a lot of these banks with risky behavior. So stock ownership, arbitrage portfolio, and short-term profit seeking. That is what we need to fix, because that is what kind of got a lot of people greedy during the boom times. And also weak regulatory oversight, so we need to improve on that as well too. There is another gentleman. He was from he's the assistant professor of law at UCI. His name is David Min, and he basically went over 3 really true options that Congress is really talking about with Freddie and Fannie. 1, no government backing with Freddie and Fannie, completely get rid of the system. Number 2 is get rid of Freddie and Fannie, but only bail them out if needed. And the third option is a hybrid model, which is you have Freddie and Fannie, and you also have portfolio investors, and you have mainly private capital that would fund a lot of this mortgage-backed securities. Similar to you investing money into a bank, you're insured by the FDIC for their capital limits. So it'll be something similar to that. So those were the 3 gentlemen that talked. The other thing I did want to do a short report on was just on YPN. Just a quick update on that. We now have 56 networks in California, and there was 4 new networks that were added this year, and we are now in all 50 states throughout the United States. And that is my report.
The young ones come up with an iPad. And you made an excellent report here. What happened in caucus?
I was short on time there.
Okay, the next one is Mel Wong. He is a C.A.R. director, local government forum, regional rep. He's forum on forum member and membership member. So welcome Mel Wong. Next year is our president of West End Neighborhood.
Thank you, Ms. Lin. Good morning, members.
Good morning.
My talk is very short and sweet. That's what you want to hear. Anyway, on the legal government forum, Dee Lieberg and Tom Jr. attended it also. And we're happy to say that thanks to our president, Lee Lieberg, he went up there and gave a report about our Monterey Park inspection demise. You guys heard about that? Well, we still have to ratify it yet, but after that, if there's no rebel rousers coming up there to protest doing away with it, we can bury that. And this is the first time in C.A.R. history that this has been done, because all these cities are trying to get behind these inspections, but they talk about the fact that how expensive it is to run that program, and since they have physical inspections and stuff like that, so they can do away with it. So Lee did an excellent report. He had a standing ovation almost, but almost there. But they're very good at that. So that's why you guys have to be involved with these things, because Lee knows all these politicians, and so does Junior. And you guys can start growing, following their footsteps, and you'll get there too. So that was the major thing. And then there was one other report that was rather interesting. I believe it was Fresno. Their elections was backed by C.A.R. on one of the new, senators? Or I forgot who it was. Anyway, he was new, but the incumbent was somebody that was against real estate. So the C.A.R. backed this new person who was dedicated to real estate. They went all out, door knocking. Can you guys see yourself knocking every house? They did, and that person won. So I see, you guys can take advantage of that. So I guess that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mel. Okay, our final speaker of the day is Lee Lieberg, our president of our association. He is the association president leadership forum member. As our local president, you don't need to join any committee, but he chose to do so. He's on Ledge as a member, and he did a wonderful job at LGR, and went up, and I took a picture of you. Welcome, Lee. Yay.
Well, you can see we were well represented at C.A.R. and at the meetings, and it's good to have them come back and pass on what was going on. And Mel, you're right about getting involved and getting to know these legislators, and it's really a commercial for getting involved in Tom's committee, our local legislative committee, where you can go and attend the city council meetings and represent us, and then develop those relationships, and hopefully we can work with them in the future. And one of our strategies right now, I'm kind of diverting from the program, but one of our political strategies is that these assemblymen and state senators usually come out of the ranks of city council members. So we're really trying to develop these relationships now so that when they're in the assembly, when we go visit them in Sacramento, they know who we are. So anyways, and I'm going to keep my comments brief, but the climate, I'm going to talk about Sacramento predominantly. The climate in Sacramento is unique right now because of the supermajorities in the state assembly and the Senate. And it's kind of frightening to not have the checks and balance in place that we're used to. Usually C.A.R. works with the Democrats on certain issues, and we work with the Republicans on other issues, and we have relationships with a few that we'll call them centrist, for lack of a better term, that we can persuade to go one way or another, and we've been very effective in that. But right now, we have the Democrats controlling both houses, and they really don't need any help from the Republicans, and it's kind of a dangerous situation that we found ourselves in. To speak to that point, they had approved what was AB 1229, which would have overturned the Costa-Hawkins law. And for those of you who remember or don't remember what the Costa-Hawkins was, that was the portion of the rent control that excluded properties built after, I believe it was 1978. Some of you may correct me on that, but I think it was 1978, and I think it's tied to Prop 13. But anyways, everything that was built after 80,
I think it's 89.
89. Okay, so everything built after that period then was not subject to rent control. Otherwise, people weren't going to build new buildings. So they wanted to encourage people to build. And this sailed through the Assembly and it sailed through the Senate. And our last stand of defense is the governor's desk. And we were able to convince Jerry Brown to veto this. So as of right now, they will not be overturning that portion of the Costa-Hawkins that would have made rent control applicable to every property. The other one that I wanted to mention was SB 1220, which was a $75 document fee on the transfer of title. The C.A.R. estimates that there's typically 3 documents on each transaction. So it would have been another $225 on your bill in escrow that you would have had to explain to your clients, we don't know where this money goes, but yeah, it's another BSV for lack of a more technical term. And then we sponsored one, C.A.R. sponsoring one on debt forgiveness, and this has to do with the short sales. And you remember when you did a short sale, the balance that was forgiven from the bank was forgiven on your taxes. You did not have to report taxes, report that as income. We've been about 4 or 5 years running with this policy. The feds went ahead and implemented it, but the state of California did not. And we're in a bit of a battle with them over that. We're gonna resubmit it this year, and then we're gonna hope to get that put back to January 1 of 2013. One last, Yin mentioned the Prop 13 and the split roll. That's going to be huge this year. We're very nervous about that. We're very nervous about them overturning it. They probably won't overturn it all because that's political suicide, but they may go after either commercial or investment or second homes, things of that nature. And then another one that's been on the horizon for some time is the tax on service. And I think the easiest way to illustrate this is when you take your car to the mechanic and he charges you $500 to repair an alternator, there's $100 as parts and $400 as labor. So when you look at the bill, they have $9 on the $100 that's parts in a sales tax. But there's not sales tax on the labor part of it. What this would do is would put a 4% tax on the labor part of it. It would affect you when you go to the mechanic, it would affect you when you do a real estate transaction, it would affect legal services, dental services. What was that?
Is it doctors?
Doctors, yes. So we've got help in fighting this one, but we want to bring it to your attention. So especially with this supermajority climate that we're living with. So with that, thank you.
Okay. Everybody, do you know where all the money is coming from to fighting all the bills? Your Realtor Action Fund that you contribute $49 per year. So remember, you gotta contribute, you can contribute more, we'll be happy to take your money, but that's where we come with all the bills to fight for, that's where the money is. Let me conclude to say thank you very much for selecting me as your regional chair for 2013. I had a great time, a lot of 7 o'clock, I'm not an early riser, so I have 7 o'clock meeting all through the whole year and last year as assistant. I'm glad that I can sleep late next year. And I want to tell you that next year, Thomas Jr. will be the vice chair of Expo. So if you have any complaint, go to him. If you want any gifts, he cannot do anything except drawing, right? Okay, but he'll be the vice chair. And Lorraine Clark will be the credential vice chair. When we go there, we're trying to promote our WSGVAR board, so we try to tell people who we are, where we're from, and we speak for you. Thank you very much.